In our last episode, we found and killed the Eye, the second of 3 leaders of the Blood Eagles Raider Gang at the Crimson Prospect. After settling a dispute there over a favorite chair, we came back to camp to learn from Beckett that the third and final raider leader of the Blood Eagles, the Claw, was at a brand new location, the Watoga Underground. This is a brand new location in the ruins of Watoga. We find it easier to access this if we've already done the Mayor for a Day quest in Watoga. That way we don't have to fight the bots. Heading to the eastern side of Watoga, we find a brand new parking garage, which leads to Watoga Underground. Inside, we find Beckett and Ronnie.
I think Beckett wants to talk to you.
Oh, looks like we gotta talk to Beckett.
You're here! Now, it's a party.
Is this the one you were talking about?
Yep.
Why haven't you ever visited my camp?
Oh, so you wanted the rest of my gang to find out where y'all keep your valuable stuff? Then by all means, I will visit all the time.
I'm not sure I like being sized up like a prize Brahmin.
Well, you better get used to it. Beckett might be getting soft and feeds every stray dog that sniffs his leg, but me, that's a different story, honey.
So you're the mysterious Ronnie. I almost thought Beckett was making you up.
Yeah, I could see Beckett doing something like that. Luckily for both of you, I'm perfectly real. Here you go. Key to this joint. Didn't come cheap, but since you're here to take down the Claw, it was worth every cap.
Just you? Where's all the muscle, Ronnie?
You really think I'm gonna risk the whole gang cleaning this place out? No, no, no. You two are gonna be doing the heavy lifting, and I'll get my guys to take out the trash. Beckett'll explain.
Who did you have to bribe to get the key?
I don't want to name names, but, I have quite a few juicy contacts in Appalachia. Damn shame this one was smart enough to do the swap through a middleman. Otherwise, I would have walked away with the key and my caps.
We can pass a charisma check of 8 to say, I know this is a big risk for your gang. Thanks for doing this, Ronnie.
Oh, shucks. Now you gonna make me cry. Let's not get all warm and fuzzy here, Slick. This is a debt being paid back. Nothing more.
I'll make sure it was worth the caps you spent.
Yeah, you better. My ass is hanging out in the breeze on this one.
We know, Ronnie. We know. Anyway, here's the plan. Ronnie's gonna head to the main garage entrance and get her gang revved up. And in the meantime, we're gonna cut our way through the Eagles and head to the garage control room and get the door open from the inside. Clear enough?
What's this about a control room?
There's a garage entrance on the other side of the complex, and it can only be opened from the inside. That's where we let Ronnie and her gang roll in. Now we need to get to the control room and hit the switch that will open the bay door. It's simple enough, if we get there in one piece.
So the Blood Eagles think they're safe down here?
Yeah, and get this. They even got some of the Watoga Underground's robots up and running to throw in our path. I guess we've worn them down so much they're getting desperate. Not that they were level-headed to start with, but...
We can flirt to say, this a bad time to tell you how I really feel about you.
Listen, if my head weren't all out of whack worrying about this last push, I'd be... Well, I'd be more into what you're laying down. Look, all that matters to me right now is getting my brother out of this hellhole alive. And when we get back, we can talk about us. Cool?
Yep, I got it.
One more thing. The Claw is the only one who knows where they're keeping Frankie. So don't go all gun-happy on me until I give the go-ahead.
I already told my gang. Any of them shoots the Claw, they gotta answer to me.
All right. Good luck. I'll see you both on the other side.
Okay, so we can kill the Blood Eagles, but we have to spare the Claw. If we accidentally kill him, we won't be able to find Frankie. Ronnie heads off to meet with her raider gang, and using the keys she gave us, we can open the door to Watoga Underground. We find ourselves at the top of an escalator. Heading downstairs, we can take yet another escalator down to reach a mezzanine level, and here we find an iBot. On this level, we find a number of terminals. Examining them, Watoga Automated Systems, Underground Parking. Welcome back. Please select from one of the following options. We can search by license plate, search unavailable. Please contact your concierge. We can search by owner name, We get the same response. Services, car wash. Detailing services are temporarily unavailable. Please contact your concierge for more information. Then we can try services mechanical. Automated repair services are temporarily unavailable. Please contact your concierge for more information. Then we can try to purchase or sell a vehicle. Commerce functions are temporarily unavailable. Please contact your concierge for more information. And finally, we can try to rent a vehicle. Vehicle rental is temporarily unavailable. Please contact your concierge for more information. Please note, do not leave rentals by the garage door. You are responsible for your rentals until such time as services are restored. Oh gosh, I wonder if they charged people for all the days they kept the car, being unable to return it due to a technical issue. This being the Fallout universe, I bet you they did. Peering out a window, we see a large room below us. We find a staircase in here, but if we take it downstairs, we find a ruined section with a door to the east that we can't access. So heading back upstairs, we can move down a hallway and take a door to the north. Creeping inside, we can take care of a Blood Eagle robot. Moving forward and turning left, we see an Eyebot clipping under the floor. We can still get him. Behind us, we find a bunch of diner tables. On the northern side of this room, we find a jammed door. Here, we can pass a special check. We can pass a strength check of 8 to force the door open, an intelligence check to bypass the sliding mechanism, or a luck check of 12 plus to kick the door. We'll try the strength check. With your bare hands, you easily force the door open. If we pass the intelligence check, you realign the sliding mechanism, which causes the door to slam open. And we arrive in a kitchen. Here we find a chem stash on the counter. Wow, were they feeding all of these chems to the Watogans? In the kitchen, we find a skill level 2 locked box safe. Inside, some goodies and more chems on the counter. Here we find another Nuka-Cola cranberry, some Radaway, and that's it for the kitchen. So, heading out, we have to move west. This hallway is lined with doors. Opening the one immediately to the left, we find a cafe. Inside, just a bunch of containers and one recipe. Heading back out, we can move across the hall, where we find a door that requires a key. Let's see if we can find this key. Continuing west down the hallway, we can open the next door to the right. This leads to a lounge. Whiskey on the table, lots of empty bottles and cigar boxes everywhere. Nothing else of interest. So back to the hallway and continuing west, we find a pathway to the south. Here we find some cola machines with Nuka-Cola inside, and we discover some bathrooms. Not much in any of these. This forces us back to the hallway. On the left, we open a door to find another robot.
This is bigger than I thought. And no wonder the Eagles are looting the place.
This was an antique shop. We see magazine racks and all sorts of clutter all over the place. Nothing much of interest in here. Crossing the hallway, we find another door which leads to a small clothing shop. Here we find a bowler hat, a Ushanka hat, and a golf skirt. That's it. So back out to the hallway, we can move west, where we pass a beautiful, pristine pre-war sedan. God, I love these cars. And when ready, we can open the big double doors to the south. This leads us to a section that mirrors the one we came from. We see all of the same terminals lining the wall, and a window overlooking a floor below. Continuing around a corner, we find staircases leading up to the north and one leading down. Taking the escalators up, we arrive at a blocked-in door, so we can't go this way. Instead, we can take the escalator down, and we see that on this side, the door is not jammed. 2 doors on either side of the room leading to the exit. Here we have to fight through Blood Eagle robots. Heading down the escalator, we see a door to the left and a staircase to the right. Heading down the staircase first, we can get rid of another robot. As we move around, however, we fall through the floor. Oh, so there's a basement level to this large room. And on this level, we find ants. There's not much down here, hardly any scrap at all, and no other rooms to explore. Thankfully, however, we do find a staircase that we can use to get back up to the main floor. This puts us out in the middle of the floor, making us easy to spot by the nearby ceiling-mounted turret. Moving north, we go up an escalator. We see that this connects to the second door on the other side instead of the one we came in on. There are 2 roads moving north, but both of them are blocked in. These roads also go south, one of which is blocked in, but the other, the one where we killed the Protectron, has a beautiful pre-war cherry bomb sitting here. From here we also find a door leading to a hallway. Down the hallway and rounding the corner, we open a door to arrive in a small room with a large terminal. This was the Watoga Underground Security Office. After looting a chem box behind the desk, we can access the terminal, Watoga Underground Security. We find 2 options. In the first, citizen-facing policies. Note to all security staff, we have a comprehensive security approach that includes measures that are visible and some that are not. Because of this, we only want to indicate to citizens that your security is of our utmost concern. Nothing more or less. You don't know what our transparency policies are at any moment, so prudence is the smartest course of action. Taking great steps to cover their backsides here. Backing out, we see that we could have disabled the turrets that we already destroyed. We'll go ahead and deactivate this, just in case any more are attached. Turning around, we can open a door. This leads to the security locker room, where we destroyed some of those turrets. We don't find much here, so backing out, we can move into the other room, where we find a bunch of consoles. Both of these rooms overlook the parking garage. Aside from the turret that was here, we find 1 footlocker on the ground, and beneath one of the consoles, we find a skill level 2 locked safe, with some randomized loot inside. Well, this is a dead end. So backtracking, heading all the way back downstairs, passing that beautiful car, we can move on towards our only way forward, and that's to head through the doorway we passed upon entry into parking garage B. We find a layout here very similar to the garage that we just left. Both of the roads leading north, however, are blocked up this time. Heading to the middle, we can take the staircase downstairs to the lower portion. This one is partially flooded, unlike the other one. And unlike the other one, we find a bit more loot here. A couple of containers to loot, some shelves bedecked with scrap. And against the northern wall, we find a door. Heading through the door, we can go downstairs. We pass by a couple of broken dolls near to a broken terminal. Creepy. And we kill some rats. We arrive in a room with a tinkerer's workbench. Moving up some stairs, we loot a couple of containers. We find a table with some scrap, and on it, the shopping plaza key. Turning around, we pass an armor workbench and head through a door that leads to a staircase. Behind the staircase, we find a skill level 2 locked box safe. Moving up, we can loot a chem cooler, a duffel bag, and kill some techs. Then, following the staircase all the way around and up, we arrive at a locked door that we can unlock with the shopping plaza key we just found. And passing through, we find ourselves at the very top of Watoga Underground, right next to that door that we passed a skill check to open. This was the door that required a key. So, had we had the key, this would have provided a handy shortcut to Parking Garage B. But heading all the way back to Parking Garage B, we can move to a platform in the middle of this floor where we find a terminal. Watoga Underground Security. We find 2 options in the first, verification procedures. Staff are now required to verify owners at a 10% rate. Ensure that the randomly selected owner knows their vehicle identification number from memory. And note those that don't so that local law enforcement can be notified. Oh, okay, yikes. Well, we learned something about the Fallout universe. Vehicles in pre-war America did have a VIN number. And if you didn't have it by memory, well, you could be accused of car theft. The final option is garage door control, and from here we can open the garage door. This opens one of the garage doors at the end of the road directly in front of us, which leads to Parking Garage C. Following the road towards Parking Garage C, we find the automated machines that parked these cars are stuck. Time stopped here on the day the bombs dropped, and we find all of these beautiful cars just as their owners left them. To get around this car, we can turn left, loot a couple of containers, and continue north down the second drive. We see a hole in the concrete wall to the left. Inside, we find some chems on a shelf. The door leading out is blocked in with rubble. At the back of this room, we find a shelf with more containers, and at the very bottom, a skill level 3 locked floor safe with a bunch of goodies inside. But this is a dead end. We peer through the grating and see that we're in a room overlooking some machinery, but we can't get out. So to move forward, we have to go back through the hole in the wall and continue north. This brings us to a car stall overlooking Garage 3. And here at last, we find some blood eagles.
Everything myself!
When clear, we can take a staircase all the way to the ground floor. We see that this is where Watoga had the stalls where they kept the cars that were parked here. What a cool system! If we have a jetpack, we can leap from stall to stall and explore some of them. But most of these stalls are disappointing. We don't find a whole lot. In one, I found a cooler. In another, I found a tool chest. But the rest were all empty. Against the northern wall, we find a couple of offices and a staircase, one of which is occupied.
Don't feel so good!
On a cart beneath the staircase, we find a fusion core hanging out. Before we take the staircase up, let's explore this office down here where we killed the Blood Eagle. We find a little bit of scrap, a mechanic's jumpsuit on a shelf, a sensor module lying out, but that's about it. So to continue, we gotta take the staircase leading up. Taking it all the way to the top, we arrive at the other side of parking garage C, where we can open some blue double doors.
Backs are turned. I swear I'll do it.
This is Depot 12. We see some of the cars still on tracks, snaking throughout this room. Against the northern wall, we see big letters, detailing. Oh, so this is where cars were detailed. Cool. Moving north, we see a car about to be detailed, but then we see a doorway to the left. Heading up to the doorway, we can skirt by detailing, which is otherwise blocked by the cars, until we arrive at a door. Heading through the door and up a staircase, we can pick a skill level 2 locked wall safe next to a desk upon which rests a terminal. Watoga Underground Routing Management. We find 2 options. In the first, stoppage procedures. Employees have the right and are encouraged to stop the line at any point. Human observers can catch errors before they pile up, or potential threats to human operators. Please note that lost time will be docked from your pay if it is determined that there was no actual risk. And how do they determine that, eh? If nothing happens? Of course, the only way to prove that it was a risk is if those human operators had left the error alone. Not a real fair system. Backing out, we can access turret control to disable any nearby turrets. To continue, we can turn left, go down a staircase, and open a door leading to the next chamber. But here I found most of the Blood Eagles and robots already dead or destroyed, so I didn't have much of a fight waiting for me. We find large platforms with consoles and containers all over. We see that this routing system would route the cars to long-term storage 4 and 5, and those that needed repair would go to repair bays M through R. Long-term storage is shut to us, so to continue we can head towards the repair bays. We find cars still in some of these bays, but many bays empty, filled with scrap, tools, and containers. In the back of one of these picker-up trucks, we find a case of dynamite and a first aid kit. Continuing west, we kill a couple of iBots until we find 2 rooms, one on either side of the track. In the one to the right, we find a skill level 0 locked terminal. After hacking it, we find 2 entries. In the first, packaging and arrangement. To all stock workers, please remember to follow the stocking procedures. Each item needs to be precisely placed on the appropriate shelving unit. We have seen our automated picking system delivering the wrong parts. Complaints have included tires being attached to steering wheels and trunks filled with coolant. Human error is avoidable through automation. I don't know. Sounds like they still needed human action to stock the shelves correctly, unless they planned to automate that as well. Perhaps that last line was a threat to the stock workers. We'll give robots your job. I find it pretty ironic that these Watogans go on and on about the benefits of automating absolutely everything, and yet here we find an instance where the success of automation is wholly dependent on the accuracy of human labor. What the heck, Watoga? In the next one, remote door control, we can open a nearby doorway. And looking up from the terminal, we see that we've opened the door in the pod across the way. After looting scrap in this pod, we can cross the tracks to explore the next one. We don't find much in the pod, but the doorway that we just opened. Heading down a concrete hallway, we can turn left, move up some steps, where we find presumably these very stock shelves that we read about on the previous terminal. And we see that it's infested with ants. On these shelves, we find vehicle parts, engines, scrap, a Nuka-Cola cranberry. Moving up a staircase, we find a conveyor belt. And on the belt, amongst a bunch of car parts, we find another creepy doll. Gosh, this place is filled with creepy dolls. At the end of this platform, we find a power armor workbench. And on the conveyor belt, a fusion core. Were these pre-war cars powered by fusion cores? Perhaps that's why we find them all over the wasteland. Interestingly, on the shelves we find disassembled mini-nukes. Not sure what they needed this for in an underground parking garage, but this is a dead end. So retracing our steps, we can continue to follow the tracks to the west. We find a room to the right, which is actually a staircase. We'll go down there in a minute. Back to the tracks, we can follow them west, where we find another huge parking silo. Silo 3, according to the letters on the ground, and this one is filled with vehicles. Way more than the other one. I took some time to get some screenshots. Man, this is one of my favorite settings in all of Wastelanders. Now, we could either hop down from here, or we can go back to that door and take the staircase down to the bottom level. Either way, we arrive inside the silo. We see that this thing is deep. Peering through the grating below us, we see that the cars go on forever. Where does this even end? Most of these stalls are filled with cars. There are a few empty ones, but they're not interesting. We don't find any other loot. So after we've taken in the sights, to continue we have to walk north. This leads to another track. High-speed transfer. We can only imagine cars zipping around from parking bay to parking bay in this high-speed transfer. Here we find more Blood Eagle corpses. Heading up a staircase, we can go through a door to Silo 4. Silo 4 has a number of lockers. We find a chemistry station. Shelves bedecked with scrap. We find a room to the right with more shelves, boxes, all over the place. There's a duffel bag here, and a skill level 0 locked first aid kit on one of the desks. Out of the pod and down some stairs, we can turn right to pass down a hallway to find that the raiders have converted this silo into a bit of a raider den. Leave or die, we find drawn in presumably blood on one of the banners. Interestingly, the first time I came here, this graffiti was not there. I only found it on a subsequent visit. But I at least found that all of these guys were dead when I arrived. After taking some screenshots, we can loot a few containers. They built some staircases and platforms in the center of this room. Following them all the way up, they lead us through a door to the south, which brings us to Garage A. Like the others, this garage has 2 tracks lining either side, and in the middle, another terminal. Watoga Underground Security. Here we just find one option to open a nearby garage door. This is the garage door that Ronnie and her raider gang are gonna come through to help us fight the Claw. Now that it's unlocked, we just need to find a button that opens the door. The raiders had a few platforms erected here, but we don't find any loot. One of the pathways is blocked in with tires, and so is the other. But here we find a door. We can open it, head up a concrete pathway lined with glowing red lights until we arrive in a room with a weapons workbench at the base of a staircase. Heading up the staircase, we can hear Blood Eagles talking on the other side of this wall.
How did it get to this point?
Opening the door, we arrive in a locker room. Here we find robot parts and scrap on shelves by lockers and sitting in big bins. At the end of this room, we find 2 paths forward. We can go up a staircase to the south or open a door to the west. Opening a door leads to what appears to be a shopping level. Oh.
More than that, buddy!
Well, one down. Heading back inside, we can go up a staircase. And remember, Ronnie wanted us to open the garage door so she and her raiders could come and help. So instead of sniping these guys off by ourselves, to open the garage door, we just push the big red button. We hunker down and clear these guys while we wait for Ronnie and her raider gang to come in and help. with that, the fighting's over. We've cleared the Blood Eagles with the help of Ronnie and her raider gang. When the battle is over, these other raiders just walk off. And they don't really have a whole lot to say. Well, thanks, Ronnie and your raider gang. I hope we'll meet again someday. Now, to find out exactly where we find ourselves. The Blood Eagle Raiders have really moved in here. Lots of raider paraphernalia all over the place. Starting from the room with the big red button, we can move out to explore this top landing. Here we find tables covered in beer bottles and cups, and a couple of rooms to the west. One room appears to be a diner. We find a dead chicken lying on the countertop, a bunch of cafeteria trays all strewn about. The diner opens up to a hallway underneath a staircase where we find a bunch of terminals. These terminals have all the same information we read on the terminals upon entry. Back into the diner, we can loot a Nuka-Cola cranberry, and then move out to pick a skill level 0 locked door that leads to the kitchen of this diner. Inside we find more scrap, a couple of recipes, and in the kitchen we find meat hanging. Little meat bits strewn all about, but nothing else much of interest. Heading out of this restaurant, we can turn north to continue exploring. Turning west, we find a barber, and here we find a pre-war terminal. Juki Hair Administration Terminal. We find 3 options. In the first, no-show policy. If the client is more than 15 minutes late, the onus is on you to cancel the appointment. We want to maintain a basic level of experience for all of our clients. This is more than a hair salon. It's therapy. It's spiritual guidance. It's a chance to shape hearts and minds in our hair journey together. God, being an employee in the Fallout universe must be awful. And the next one, new products. This month's list of new products is as follows. Make sure that you naturally insert these products into conversation. Juki Cranberry Face Peel. Key terms include refreshing, delightful, inorganic, and gluten-free. I like how both gluten-free and inorganic are buzzwords in the Fallout universe. Proclaim hair color products. Key terms include vibrant, transmogrifying, and divine. Shazbo facial massage system. Key terms include clever, inspired, and vibrational. Ew. Do not shill last month's products. In the next one, we can access turret control, but we've destroyed all of these turrets, so much for that. After we finish exploring and contemplating a vibrational salon massage system, we can head out and move to the other side of the plaza. Against the northern wall, we find an elevated platform with a bunch of instruments. Looks like the shoppers of Watoga were treated to live music. Along the way, we see some staircases that connect the 2 sides of the plaza. Nothing much over here. And on the eastern side, we just find the doorway where we arrived. So, heading downstairs, we can explore this lower level. We don't find much on this second level, but in the middle we do find another Watoga underground security terminal. But here all we can do is control a nearby Protectron. The pathways to the north and south are all blocked in. We find a number of vending machines, but they're all empty. So, taking a staircase to the bottom and final floor, we find lockers down here, a bunch of heavy machinery, some chemical showers, raider sleeping bags, and Fat Man crates. But that appears to be it. With the plaza explored, we need to head back upstairs and open the door to the south that leads to the car dealership. And here we find the claw. But as we get close, Beckett stops in his tracks.
Wait. What the hell? Frankie? Is that you?
That's right, Beckett. It's me, your baby brother. Surprise, surprise!
No. No way. This doesn't make any sense. You're the Claw? How is that possible?
Oh, Beckett. Always 2 steps behind, racing to catch up. Think, brother, think! The Claw lives within all of us, waiting for the moment it awakens and tears its way through our flesh, only to burst forth anew. We're all the Claw.
Frankie, listen to me. You gotta fight this. It's the chems. They did something to you. Changed you. This isn't you, man. You can beat this thing.
Oh. The fight ended long before it began, sweet brother. It died when you left me in Foundation. Left me so you could seek the claw yourself. The draw was too much for you, wasn't it? The allure of power, making you forget the past. Making you forget everything you love.
Look, man. Look, I'm sorry, okay? I was wrong. I shouldn't have stuffed you away like that. We should have stuck together. Look, it is all my fault. Come on, Frankie. Snap out of it. Okay, you are my brother, and I need you to come home.
Frankie? No. No. Frankie's dead. You killed him, Beckett. By abandoning him, you pulled the trigger. But I know why you're really here. To slay the Claw and yourself become the Claw anew. Finish the job, Beckett. Do what you must.
Oh my god! Frankie's the Claw! And he's so drugged out of his mind that he wants Beckett to kill him so that Beckett can become the new Claw. What do we even do here? Talking with Beckett.
I don't know what to do. I never expected anything like this. Please, I need your help. I don't know if Frankie's in there or not anymore. Maybe he's too far gone to save it, and I should just pull the trigger. Please, help me.
How could Frankie be the Claw?
Okay, the Claw must be just a name the Blood Eagles have used for different people over the years. I'm not sure how Frankie took the Claw's place before we got here, but I'm sure it has something to do with the chems.
Do you think there's any hope of getting him back to normal?
I don't know. I'm one of 3 Blood Eagles to ever escape their brainwashing and kick the chem habit. And it was painful. I mean, it almost killed me. I don't know if Frankie can survive that.
Maybe we should just leave.
No. This has to end here. Today.
At this point, we have to make a decision. And this decision is a point of no return. We can't go back to see what would happen if we made the other decision. We can force Beckett to decide on his own, convince Beckett to kill Frankie, or we can save Frankie. I was only able to record one of these outcomes. We can say, "You love your brother, Beckett. Talk to him. Remind him how much he means to you."
Oh my god, you're right. I let him get inside my head. I need to focus. Let me talk to him. Hey, Frankie? I want you to look at me.
Look? Yes. Look. Look beyond this shell made of skin and bone. Look deep and witness the soul of the Claw.
Focus on my voice, Frankie. It's just me and you against the world, buddy. Just like old times. Come on, man. Focus. I know you've been hurt, Frankie. And I know I wasn't there for you, especially when you needed me the most. And I'm sorry.
No. It's not that easy, Beckett. The Claw demands a high price for failure. The price is suffering.
Listen to me, Frankie. Do you remember when we were kids? You know, we were playing near that bombed-out factory in Maryland, and then those rabid dogs just jumped out of nowhere and just surprised us. And we ran, but then I fell into that ditch and twisted my leg like a dumbass, right? I told you to run. What did you say to me, man? Try and remember.
No, Beckett. Those moments died when Frankie died. Only a fool dwells in the past. The Blood Eagles are our future.
No, there's no Claw. And there's no Blood Eagles. There's just me and you right now. All right, so shut up and listen. After the dogs were gone and you reached into the ditch to help me out, what did you say? Tell me, God damn it, Frankie, tell me!
No, I said, we were brothers and we'd never walk away from each other. No matter how bad, no matter how...
No matter how bad things became. Yeah, that's exactly right. You fought off those dogs with nothing but a goddamn broken baseball bat. And it almost killed you, man. But you saved me. You were so caught up from the fight, I thought I was gonna lose you, Frankie.
I remember... You stole those meds from me to fight off the rabies. You kept watch over me for weeks. Why can't I see it clearly? The hell happened to me, Beckett? God, this hurts. It hurts so much.
Oh, God, I know it hurts, man. I know it does. But whatever it takes, we'll get through this together. All right, we are family, and I love you, Frankie. I always have. I always will.
I love you too, Beckett. And I'm sorry. Sorry for everything.
With that, Beckett successfully retrieves Frankie from whatever dark place the Claw was holding him. Talking with Frankie.
Beckett, he almost killed me. And you talked him out of it. Thank you.
Talking with Beckett.
I can't believe I was able to talk him through that.
I'm proud of you, Beckett.
Oh, proud of me for not murdering my brother. I suppose that's high praise for a former raider.
I was getting nervous there for a second.
Yeah, you and me both. I think I almost pulled my gun more than a few times.
I knew you could do it, Beckett.
Well, I'm glad one of us did. You know, if anything, I should be disappointed with myself. You know, this is all my fault to begin with. I started him down this path by not being there for him. And to make matters worse, I was such a chicken shit, I forced you to make this decision. Not my finest hour.
Was that story about the rabid dogs true?
Every word of it. If I had made some of it up, I don't think it would have gotten through.
Don't sell yourself short. You put your life on the line to rescue him.
Yeah, I guess I never thought of it that way. Though, to be fair, mowing down a bunch of the Blood Eagles was a bit of a selfish payback as well.
I'm here for you, Beckett. I got your back.
And I have yours. Forever. I mean that. Okay. I'm gonna bring Frankie to a friend I know who can help him fully recover from his addiction. Head back to your camp, all right? And I'll meet you there soon. And before you say anything, yes, I promise to show up. Okay? Don't worry. Have a safe trip back.
You coming with us, Frankie?
Oh, my head. What the hell happened to me? It's like there were two voices in my head.
All right, well, looks like it's time to go, Beckett.
Listen, you head back to camp. I'll take care of Frankie. Thanks, friend. Thanks for everything.
Well, we found and saved Frankie. Beckett's gonna stay here for a bit to make sure that Frankie gets someplace safe. Before we go, we can explore this car dealership. Frankie, the Claw, had his own special throne here. What is it with raiders and those cushy red chairs? Behind the front desk was his bed, and sandwiched between a picker-up truck and a cherry bomb, we find a door that leads... What the... Help me! To the left, we find a crib, and in the crib, we find the doll-maker's key. The doll-maker? And now we begin to understand why we've seen those broken dolls scattered all over the Watoga underground. At one time, there was a doll maker living here. Near to the doll maker's crib is an end-of-dungeon steamer truck with a very disappointing haul of goods. Come on, guys. The shelf in front of the words is covered in broken dolls, children's toys, and lit burning candles. Could Frankie be the doll maker? Could Frankie, in his chemmed-out mind, have been repressing the original Frankie, who could only show himself by crawling into this tiny little room and becoming the doll maker? Could this help me be a cry for help from the Claw's subconscious? Or maybe this has nothing to do with Frankie. Maybe this was written by someone else, and the Raiders found it here when they moved in. We walk away with so many questions, but very few answers. When I came back here a second time to explore, I found the dealership door locked, which means that doing this quest is our only opportunity to explore the dealership and find the dollmaker's room, and therefore loot the dollmaker's key. If we don't get it now, we can't ever get it again. To leave the Watoga Underground, we can head out of the dealership, turn left, up some escalators, up more escalators, and out the door to Appalachia. And by turning around, we discover exactly what the dollmaker's key was for. We can use it to unlock this locked door that brings us back to the plaza section of Watoga Underground. Now, we need to meet Beckett back at our camp. When we get back, we'll complete this quest, get our reward, and we'll finally have an opportunity to romance Beckett. Or not. That conversation is complicated and potentially awkward, and it deserves its own video. I publish new Fallout videos each and every week, so if you don't want to miss that episode, be sure to subscribe and to click that bell notification button. If you have already, but you still feel like you're missing out on YouTube notifications, consider following me on Twitter at Oxhorn. I update Twitter manually with every new piece of content that I publish. I've got a shirt shop with completely unique designs that you can't find anywhere else. My designs come on shirts in a variety of men's, women's, and children's sizes, and in a wide array of colors. You can find them on other products as well, like smartphone cases, pillows, posters, mugs, stickers, prints, etc. So if interested, you can find a link to my shop in the description below, or you can click here. If you like what I do and you want to support me in a more personal way, consider becoming a patron on Patreon or a member here on YouTube. YouTube members and patrons on Patreon are becoming increasingly important as YouTube continues to make platform changes that make the future of YouTube monetization uncertain. So to all my patrons on Patreon and my YouTube members, you have my sincerest thanks. I couldn't make these videos without you. But more than anything, I'm just so glad you're here watching this video with me today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you soon with more brand new videos.